Good afternoon and welcome to this week's Letters from the Light Side on the 22nd of June 2017. And I'm smiling because Jen, I'm wearing the scarf. I've got the scarf as I promised and I'm wearing it. Welcome to some inspiration, some channeling, some thoughts from the energy beings who live alongside us in the non-physical dimensions, those who are here to help us and encourage us. And my name's Conboy, and it's been my pleasure to do these videos now for just over 3 months. I had to think about it then. And to share the positive vibration out into the world, because that's an important piece of work that we can all do to help ourselves to create a better world, a better universe. So I offer these thoughts, I offer these feelings, these impressions that come in, and take as much as you can from them, or if it's not your cup of tea, pass it by. Perhaps you know someone else who needs a blast of positivity as well, and share if you are able. That would be lovely. Hi Annette. If you're watching now, I hope you enjoy. If you're watching later, I hope you enjoy too. We've just stepped through the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere. I know it's the winter one in the southern hemisphere, but one of the things that struck me yesterday was how important it is for each and every one of us to radiate our light, to share our abilities, to start to remind ourselves what we're good at. I know I've been talking about that for a long time in these messages, but I really feel as if we've hit that kind of resistance point, because some of our limitations are imposed from very, very old stuff. Hi Bev. And the theme that is coming in for the week ahead is very much around the word purification. And they started to talk to me about purification 3 or 4 days ago, bringing it to my attention in a bigger way, and wanting to ask me, hi Fiona, wanting to ask me to think about what I still needed to do, I guess, what was going to make my road easier, what could I clear out of the way so that I wasn't tripping myself up. And it made me smile, because you get to a point where you think, oh, do I really have to do any more of this? Surely I've got rid of all that rubbish that I was carrying, all those judgments, all those put-downs in me, only for me to sort of sit there and go, oh, well, actually, because we can clear at an intellectual level. We can think we're free of the feelings. We can clear perhaps at an emotional level sometimes. But we all have locked doors that we don't want to go behind, because we think, hi Liz, we're worried about what might be in the background, what's behind those doors. And so we do kind of a partial wash and brush up, and we're very reluctant to address our clearing in the physical, and the spiritual hardly gets a look in. However, when I talk about purification, we're being asked to look at everything that's stuck. Where aren't you looking after your well-being? Where are you allowing yourself to say, well, I'm going to be ill? Where are you allowing yourself to limit yourself by saying, I can't physically do this, or I can't physically manage that? I've been with my aunt today. She's a real staunch warrior lady. She's stoic is the word I would use, and she's 77, and the list of what's wrong with her is frightening, and yet I know that I have to help her by not helping her. She has to come at her health from wellness, from her own sense of I can do it for myself. Otherwise, she's just going to fade away. And that's so real. We think about ourselves limited. I catch myself thinking about it. I have a birthday approaching, and I think about that birthday and go, ooh, am I really getting to that birthday? And it brings up in my mind the stuff that I thought about people who were over 30 when I was a kid. It brings to mind the assumptions that were made at that time. And some of those assumptions are still in me, kind of saying, you can't this, you can't that. And I get stuck with the crossness of saying I can't, and stuck with the energy it needs to get past that. And this is where purification, cleaning, cleansing comes in. It's about, first of all, seeing that you are holding on to something that's no longer valuable. Telling yourself that, recognising it, and then taking action. And doing the things that help you to feel that you are approaching this from a physical, mental, emotional and spiritual level. And on a spiritual level, it's about understanding what you believe. I have a lovely guide with me at the moment who's digging in my ears. An interesting gentleman. We don't particularly see eye to eye. Bless him. Some days my guys must just be sick of me. He's a lovely gentleman, and in his existence, last time here on earth, he was a preacher, a very reverend, and he believed so fervently, hi Chris, in his religion. He had a little bit of a surprise when he got over to the spirit world, because it wasn't quite what he was expecting. And he came to work with me. They knew that we'd be at odds. They knew that I'd be going, oh my goodness. And he'd be going, oh. But we were asked to work together, because what we could do was learn to accommodate each other, learn to understand different spiritual perspectives, and learn that maybe we had let ourselves have narrow perspectives because it felt more comfortable. And we've had some ding-dongs, debates, I think he'd agree if I put it that way, about how some of my ideas are driven from very old stuff that I experienced when I was younger, and so were his. And that in the middle, actually, when we really pulled it apart and put it back together again, we were coming from the same point of view, but we dressed it up differently. So I had to see past his language, and he had to see past my liberalism. So that what we could do was reach an agreement. But what it was also good for Was it cleared a lot of stuck stuff, things I was restricting myself, things I was sort of saying, well, I don't believe in that, so I'm not going to mention that, and I'm not going to encompass that, and I'm not even going to look at that. So when you are thinking about what you set up for yourself, what are you dreaming, what are you hoping for, please try to include that sense of freedom from your limitations, freedom from the restrictions that you've taken on board. Move in that energy by becoming more at peace with. There are lots of different opinions, and there are lots of different aspects and approaches, and we don't know them all. Somebody will dream something else up someday. That's absolutely fine. It's about looking at inner work, inner world, and saying, I just want to give the best I can to me and others. So let's not tell myself I can't. Let's not tell myself I'm not good enough. Hide it into, let's not impose on myself rules that mean that I can't do my best. It's very important that each one of us contributes what is there for us to do. Sorry, I'm laughing again because somebody in the background's just said here. It has moved into another Archangels month. We're in a Teleals month. These are the Earth's archangels, the guardian angels of the planet, the ones who are helping us all to take this big stride forward. And Ateliel is very present today with me. He was present yesterday because he's the angel of the dawn and the dusk, and he's here about the light, he's here about the love we can give to one another. And he's very clear that we all have an important, unique role to play. It doesn't matter whether it's on a public stage or quietly in the background, but if we don't do our bit, then something gets missed, and what we end up with is only half of a sort of future, if you like, or even not very much future at all, because we're not working from the right point of view ourselves. So this lovely guardian angel, this really this rather hot angel is here to request that you let him and the other archangels who work specifically with the earth help you to embrace all you really are. We're being shown through the tough things that are happening how much love really, really matters. I'm just smiling because, you know, love comes in all sorts of different ways. And there's a British TV programme called The Last Leg. It's a comic programme, a comedy programme. It reminds me so much of being in the pub with my three brothers and their rugby mates. It's a bit laddish humour, but it is funny because they come from a very loving perspective. I watch other commentators. There's a gentleman who does an American programme called John Oliver, who comes from bringing facts forward to try to get people to think about the compassion that we need to put into the world and how we need to operate. And so there are voices out there in the most unusual places, but voices encouraging us to think about it, to act upon our strong bonds of love and our compassion, and to reach out and put into any situation all the loving kindness that we can. That helps us, because when we're doing that, we're stopping restricting ourselves, because it's really hard. I know it's hard. I've just launched a monthly newsletter going, I don't know if I can. Why? I know why. It's old restrictions. I know that it's me wanting to... I saw a deer yesterday after I'd been to do the sunrise. A beautiful deer, just totally wouldn't where it shouldn't be kind of thing. But I laughed to myself because it was standing in plain sight, and she looked at me and I looked at her, and she kind of went, And I thought, this is the issue. We hide, we camouflage, and we only come out into our true kindness and being on rare occasions, and we need to do that much more. So please take their love and their encouragement. Please know they walk alongside us, with us, to help us to do this. But let's think about what's happening in this coming week. We're riding a wave of very positive, loving energy at the moment. Fingers crossed that it stays that way, she says, although laughing in the background. We're actually going to have a week which is much calmer. It's about taking a pause, and it's about reviewing where we've been in the last few weeks. What's been happening to you? What has kept happening to you that you thought, I rather wish this would go away? What aren't you choosing to see? Do you need a different point of view? Do you need some influence and some discussion with someone of a totally opposite point of view, so that you can become a little bit more open to there are other options? Because we will have to open those locked doors if we want to live the best life possible. It's just, it's not necessarily the time yet. So particularly tomorrow and Saturday, the energy is good for reflection, for thinking about yourself, and you'll find that there is a lot of inspiration dropped into your head. Those thoughts that seem to come from nowhere, pay attention to them, because they're reminding you of the journey that you've been on, and the fact that you're a different person now than you were even yesterday. I feel the flow of compliments and positive words is around, particularly from the middle of Saturday right the way through until Monday evening. So take those, don't dismiss them, just take those comments. There's some generally good positive comments coming and throwing themselves into the mix on a world stage as well. We can't fight every second of the day. Sometimes we have to have a pause, and I just feel that Saturday afternoon through to Monday evening there is time for much more supportive words to be around, and acknowledgements of how much people have helped one another. And that's really good, because we need to acknowledge. We'll do it more if we acknowledge it. Spirit always say, if we acknowledge their contact, if we say, oh yeah, is that you? They will do more. It's when we don't acknowledge it, they stop, they think we're not listening. So for anybody who's wanting to maybe develop that intuitive sense within themselves, just anything, just say, well, if that's you, can you do some more? And just allow it to happen gently and easily by saying, well, that's fascinating, could you do something else? Could you do that again? Because that will boost the interest that they have in trying to make sure you know they're there. I feel as we move into Tuesday, I'm getting a sense of the energy shifting around 5 o'clock on Tuesday morning. So you might find Tuesday is a bit more of a hard day to get through. I sense of who am I and what am I doing is back in the general energy of the ocean that we're swimming. People may be a bit doubtful, so a little bit unsure and uncertain. You might find that you don't get answers, you might find that you don't get what you need, and it's just to try to look after you by remembering something that I find really hard: perfect timing. Wolf running, my main guide, is my gatekeeper's tweaking my ear because, yeah, I struggle with perfect timing. I really do. I find it hard to wait when I feel like I know what needs to be done. So sometimes we have to hold back because it's not the right perfect timing. Other things need to come into place first, and Tuesday is going to feel a bit like that. It'll be gone by Wednesday, a bit like a thunderstorm, just disappear, floating out of view, and I feel like the clouds will have lifted. So there's a positive flow of energy on Wednesday to carry you into a good weekend. Make the most of any opportunities that pop up on Wednesday. It might be go and have a cuppa with someone. You never know what they might be saying that's pings for you. Whether it's going to shop and finding something that inspires you. Ooh, this will really help me with feeling well. One of the things that I'm being mindful of is my sugar intake at the moment, because the inspirers I work with are saying it's not really good. It's not good. So I'm being aware of it and dealing with it. Similarly, on Wednesday, you might treat yourself to something and think, oh, well, that was really lovely. I'm going to have that again. That was healthy. That felt good. Made me feel good. Also be aware of just making sure you're in your positive bubble. We do transfer energy between ourselves, and what can happen is you get stuck in an energy transfer that just keeps bouncing negativity backwards and forwards. This lovely guide, the very reverend, we had to learn not to go into the negatives about each other, about my reaction to him and his reaction to me, based on our prejudices, basically. And we had to kind of navigate around that to find the things that we could give to one another, the positive flow that we could share. So on Wednesday, just look for what are the positives I can share. Remember that you are still looking at this world through a little bit of illusion spectacles. You're not quite seeing it as the ocean of energy yet. You're not quite up to speed with what all of it means when we get a wave of energy from others. A bubble will keep that energy out. Let the positive flow in, but keep anything that's not positive out. And although it hasn't been plain sailing, also be aware that over the next 7 days you will be reminded just how far you have progressed, just how much difference that you have made to yourself, and therefore that life is different. May still have a few knotty problems, may still seem like it's all a bit of a muddled up knot, but it's getting straightened out. The threads and strands are coming apart nicely so that you can weave beautiful dreams. And that's another key point in the next week. Make the dreams, think of the dreams, encourage yourself to dream. What do you require and desire in your life? It's there for you to have, but you have to build that dream first. You have to make it be in your mind and be passionate about it. And then it's about perfect timing, letting it go and remembering that in perfect timing it will be yours. There's a lot of healing vibration coming into the room now, so I'm just going to share that energy with you. Sometimes when we feel wobbly or stuck, we forget to receive, so just take a moment or two and say, I receive, I'll have all the good stuff, please give it me. And whatever way that things come in, see them as positive. I'm always making cups of tea for everybody else when they come to the centre. One of my pleasures is when somebody says, let me make you a cup of tea. I've learned to say yes, because that's me accepting back something I've given out. Took me a long time to realise that until I received, I was stuck. There was no energy exchange. So now I love that energy exchange. So remember, everything you've given needs to come back, and you need to let it come back. So, sending you the love and healing, sending you the encouragement of all the energy beings who surround you, who want to help you to live a happy, contented, peaceful and positive life. I hope that you will have the best of weeks, and I hope that our love will see us through whatever troubles, whatever rocks are in this ocean, whatever is there that we have to overcome, that the love will overcome. Thank you very much, and I'll be back next week. You can follow my daily blog on www.annieconboy.net, and there is now a subscription service for a regular monthly newsletter whenever I encounter the technical problems. So I'll leave you with the laughter, and I'll leave you with the freedom, and enjoy yourselves. Thank you.